Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Fascia, and in this video we're going to talk a little bit about how the connective tissue system, the fascia, is involved in movement, coordination, balance, and how if those aren't in optimal function, it can also lead to 95% of all physical musculoskeletal pain. So remembering, the connective tissue is anchoring right under the skin. So it's connecting under the skin. It starts to bore itself into 3 different layers into the muscles. From there, it turns into the tendon that attaches the muscle to the bone. There, it connects into the ligaments that are attaching bone to bone. From there, it wraps and creates the capsule of the joint. Going deeper in, it turns into the cartilage that is in between the joints. And then it becomes the lining of the bone, known as the periosteum. We also have to remember we've got all of these organs. So this tissue's coming down and it's integrating all around your organs. Why is this system so important? Because of its rapid cellular communication. If we think about it, the connective tissue system is communicating at a cellular level at 720 miles an hour. That is the speed of sound. The fastest nerve communicates at only 170 miles an hour. So the fascia system is working 3.5 times faster. So what does that really mean? It means the fascia system is intention in the mind. I want to start walking. Instantly, the fascia is communicating through something called piezoelectricity, which is a fancy way of saying an electrical communication through the cells. It is the system that preps the environment for the nerve to communicate. So now this is where we get into the understanding of the compressive load of dehydrated, stiff, less than optimal fascia. When we're doing repetitive movements, poor posture, let's just say we've lived 30 years and we've really just gotten out of chairs, we walk in a straight line, we sit back down, we go to bed. Are you doing a lot of lateral movement? Are you adding different vectors of movement into your body? If you're not, the system stops communicating. It says, hey, you're not doing that anymore. I don't need to stay active and alert. So in terms of pain, let's talk about the nerves. So you've got nerves coming out of your neck, you've got nerves coming out of the spine into the muscular tissues. If I have stiffness and we have a buildup of fascia, maybe we have an injury, maybe we just have repetitive tight muscles, it's because this tissue creates adhesions. And these adhesions literally can turn into steel. They will not budge. So that steel is clamping on the nerves. And the nerves are like wires. They do not have any stretch capability. So if I have a clamp in my glute and I go to lift that leg, that nerve wants to glide through the tissue, but it's being compressed, so I have pain. You also may think, okay, when I bend to the side, I've got this little ache. That can also be stemming from a nerve clamp, but also a compression in the joints, a tightness in the muscles, and just limiting you from moving. So something is happening right now. A man named David Reck he's been analyzing movement for a long time, and he's trying to revolutionize how we walk. We walk straight. There's really no core involved. So he is using the fascia system to educate us in right and left sided movements. So think about that. We're going to remove individual muscle joint movements, which is how we were trained, how we were educated, and how we've taught the whole population to believe in movement. And we're going to kind of throw individual components away and look at global tissue. So when we walk, he's calling it head over toe. So when the right foot comes up, I lean my body. What this is doing in a fascia world is this whole left side is listening to the coil. So this body's coiled up, prepped for quick movement. And then this side's coiled up, and the body works as a unit. And so when we walk, it's really meant to be like this. And I know it looks funny, but as a unit, the whole body operates effortlessly, smoothly, quickly. That is the connective tissue. Let's also talk about something that your orthopedic doctor may or may not be absolutely certain about, which is, let's talk about degenerative arthritis, bone spurs. I said the fascia connects to the lining of the bone. If I have 20 years, 30 years of a tight forearm, a tight deltoid, tight bicep, tight tricep, really tight trap, and it's pulling downward at all these anchors, it's pulling at the lining of my bones in my neck. And so at 40, 50, 60, I go and I get an x-ray, and they say, wow, you've got severe arthritis with all these bone spurs, these little jagged edges of bone. That is from years of mechanical force pulling at the lining of the bone, creating that bone spur and also an inflammatory response. So this was the main reason to develop the Dr. Fascia tool, which was to create shearing on the tissue. And what they have found is that if we pull on the tissue, and I get up in here close and you can see me pulling on my skin, every time I generate this mechanical pull at the cellular level, on the cell wall, when that tissue is pulled, it stops and downregulates, turns off inflammation at the cellular level. So when we start to create movement patterns that generate this pulling, this is why yoga has been popular, Pilates is popular, but now we can just start coining global fascia movements. You just want to wake up the body and do some little bends and twists. You're going to start to decrease your inflammation. So the last little bit is something called proprioception, coordinated movement. If the body starts to lose the ability to have coordinated movement at all different levels of the joints and the muscles and the tissue, that nervous system signal allows for the pain response in the nervous system to generate. When we start creating that coordination, mainly because we're loosening up the fascial adhesions, allowing for optimal movement, the pain goes away. So we're going to work on breaking down the adhesions, generating strength, generating coordinated movement, all through optimizing the fascia. So I hope this helps.